Hi everybody, it's Alison Dorrant coming to you from Calgary, Alberta, Canada with another unedited video of what's inspiring me in the moment, all things related to art and sort of leading a creative life. And I wanted to share what's in front of me, and it's one of my art poetry paintings, watercolor on 140-pound paper, and sort of my loose, colorful, intuitive background. In this particular painting, I had written the words, "In every moment I carry you with me." Those are some words that I really like to incorporate in some of my art poetry paintings. And I just wanted to share, if you've been following me, you know that I've been really into mounting my art to wood panel. I've been doing that for a number of years, but I just feel a bit more confident in my skills to finish the piece in a way that makes me feel like it just really pulls it together well. I love the polka dots on the side, and this is a gorgeous turquoise fluid acrylic that I had chosen. And when I finished the painting, or I'm almost finished the watercolor painting on paper, before I glue it, or also known as mounting it to the wood panel, I just kind of look at it beside the wood and decide what color do I want to pull in. So in this case, I already had this beautiful little turquoise abstract rose, and when I tilted it and held up the green, that turquoise paint, I thought that would be a really great color for finishing this panel. So I just thought I'd share this with you. I recently titled this one Embrace, and I love these cradled panels. These are some that I had purchased from Deserres art store here in Canada, and I can link that in the description. The local art stores in Calgary, at least, do tend to carry different sizes of these cradled wood panels, and it's just a matter of which sizes they have in stock. So I'll just show you. This would be an example of one I bought from Deserres, and I believe they're out of Quebec. I'd have to double check, but this is what they supply, these birch wood panels made by a company called Gotrek, and they're just really wonderful panels to use if you're painting right on wood or mounting your watercolor paper to a panel. So this is a 4x6 inch panel. It's I have small hands, but you can see I wouldn't call it mini art, but it's small art, and I just thought I would share that with you all. I know someone had written to me, and they're in the Netherlands, and we're really having a hard time finding these. So for any of you that are watching that have some idea on how to get these panels, affordably in the Netherlands, or if you know any shops, if you could just put that in the comments, that would really help out my friend. So I am just going to go back to what I was talking about. Oh, I know. I'm going to just share what I have been up to. I love painting. I do paint and create every day, and I paint in stages, and so I make it very manageable with my lifestyle. So for instance, this little work, I would just start painting the loose background on watercolor paper and almost get like an underpainting of sorts. Then I would let it dry and come back to it and finish it with mark making. And then I would use my Spectrafix fixative just to make sure all of the art supplies that I've used kind of stay in place. And when I then decide, do I want to mount it to a wood panel, or do I want to put it behind glass? That's kind of the next decision that I would make. And for this one, I just felt I really loved it. I wanted to mount it to a panel, and these panels are just a really nice size. I've enjoyed working with them. And yeah, on another day, after doing the fixative over the finished work, I would take one of these panels and just do the edges. And if that goes well, then I would glue, or again, mount the paper to the panel and just finish it. I finished this with the Dorland's wax medium, and I did do a little Instagram video that I have to post of that process because it's quite straightforward. You just want to do it in a ventilated space, and it really doesn't have an odor. You can see the sheen that I buffed out from the wax. So I just thought I'd share that with you for those of you that are trying this technique and you just want to see another finished piece. So again, I call these my art poetry paintings. So it's watercolor primarily on 140-pound cotton paper. I think this is Arches cold pressed 140-pound paper, mounted or glued to the panel. And I use Liquetex matte gel medium to glue, but you can use most how do you say, there's some really good products, but I'm not gonna discuss those in this video today. I'm just gonna share one of my, just gonna set this aside. And I'm just gonna make sure Oakley is not at the door because I'm in the studio on my own today, and I just wonder if he needs to go outside, my little rescue dog. So I'm just gonna leave you with trust your intuition and zoom you all in and just go check on him. Okay, and he is good. Good boy, Oakley. Okay, he's up on the back of the couch. He thinks he's a cat, and when we rescued him, he always loved to be higher than us. And anyway, he loves to sit on the back of the couch. It's just, I always tell people, be careful if they put their head back because he'll growl because, you know, that's his personal space. And anyway, speaking of Oakley and his cute shenanigans, his personality, I did get a draft from the editor-in-chief of What Women Create magazine. So while do I have that magazine? Here it is. Ooh, I even had little tabs in this one. So again, if you've been following me, which thank you so much. Thank you to those of you that have subscribed. I'm really grateful. I just wanted to share that Oakley is going to be featured in What Women Create, which is a magazine that we can get it here at Indigo chapters in our stores here in Calgary and in other cities in Canada. I believe this is also in the US, and I'm not sure where else, how many countries it kind of reaches, but I feel really honored that Oakley made it into this magazine. So What Women Create, and he's going to be in the spring edition, and this is just such an incredible magazine. It's full of inspiration and color and creativity. And I've discovered some wonderful artists in here. And so Oakley and I are going to be part of something called Pet Tales, which is, it's usually at the end of the magazine, and it's where artists have their studio buddies, their fur babies, whether they're cats or dogs. I don't know, I haven't seen any horses or ducks, but anyways, it would be really cute to see some different animals in the studio with their humans. But yeah, the article and the photos turned out really well, and I'm so grateful. So I'll have to share that with you when it comes out in the spring. And I just don't see Pet Tales in this particular one. But so much other stuff that's distracting me from what I'm talking about. Polyfern, this is a really cute page with all these beautifully framed works. So I'll have to check out Polyfern. Anyway, so yeah, I'm really excited because it was quite a bit of time and energy getting that photo shoot done. So stay tuned for that. And I'm also working on, well, this is for my mom. So I just started this little fox painting, and some of you may recognize this fox. This is an image that was, how do I say, this is an image by, I believe her name is Tamara Laporte. I have to double check. She's a wonderful mixed media artist, and I just took this one class, which was painting. I saw this fox and I had to learn how to paint this little fox. And the class is all about painting the fox in watercolor, but I wanted to try painting this fox, I think with the lighting, hopefully you can see a bit of the sheen and the texture. it's smooth texture, so it's almost like implied texture, and it's actually that reticulated pattern that I had shown in my last couple videos, how I like to achieve that on more of a glossy surface. So this technique I had done a little bit differently. This is watercolor paper, and someday I will probably share how I kind of get this loose background, very similar to what I was teaching in the other videos. But Tamara she does beautiful wildlife all in watercolor, and I just, again, had to try creating this little fox because I loved her so much. And so do check out her work. I will link her in the description. She really is a beautiful artist, very inspiring. She even had a little meditative practice just before she started showing how to draw the fox. And I'm still not super comfortable with drawing, so with this one I had used almost more of a tracing method with the images she provided. So these were her images, and again, I'm just making this fox into my own style using acrylic inks instead of watercolor. And I think she may have called this the Whimsical Fox, but again, I will link it in the description. She also has a class on a wildlife class where you can paint a bird, an owl, I think a gorilla, a rabbit, and what was the other thing? Maybe a wolf, but some really great lessons at very affordable prices. So I'm not sure if my mom's watching this, but yeah, I'm hoping to surprise her. She's had a terrible cold this past week and been under the weather, and I was going to surprise her by mounting this to a wood panel. I might put some flowers around it, I'm not too sure, but just thought I'd share that this is one way I incorporate that reticulated texture into some of my work. Also, you may recognize this little background that we had done together, and I've been playing around with painted papers, and this was a collage on image that I had used on tissue paper, as well as this is mulberry paper up here. So I don't know if you remember me working on, I did 2 little watercolor backgrounds, and this is still not finished, but I thought I just really wanted to add a collage, and then I had put some white acrylic paint on for the petals, so just thought I'd share that. And I was working on this purposeful paper collection, and because we had our Canada Post, my primary shipping company here in Canada, they had gone on strike before Christmas. They went on strike, I think November 12th, and I had this huge collection that I had just launched, and then anyways, the strike happened. I ended up taking all of my work that I had just listed off of my website. Slowly I'm going to get that back going, but this was one little piece that was just on paper, had really rough edges, and then I thought, well, why not try and finish it the same way that I had finished that watercolor piece. So, you know, I don't know about you, but like when I have work that's sitting around and I see it, sometimes I go back to it, and although I felt like it was complete, I was just really excited to mount it to a panel instead of frame it. So I've used Spectrafix. I'm gonna cover it with another, a varnish to protect it, but I just wanted to share with you this piece. Oh, and it's too funny, I glued this on upside down. So Planting Imperfection is the title, and I have a bit of a laugh because this is very imperfect, because I actually had written the title, I had meant to have it this way, and I glued it on the opposite way. So this is a very good example of imperfect, embracing wabi-sabi, that Japanese aesthetic of finding beauty in imperfection. And this piece I'm looking forward to doing a really lovely varnish coat. And so yeah, I just thought I would share this with you all. And let me see, I'm thinking about listing some of these. These are original paintings from my art poetry deck. So they're just very small works, and I had them in a frame in my in my master bedroom. I think that's one of them. I'm just gonna see if I can flip through. And I just thought I would share with you what the originals look like. So for those of you that have my art poetry deck, you can kind of recognize some of these. So let's just flip through here, see if I can find. Anyways, I just thought I would share those because it was kind of fun. I think I'll probably list these on my website, and these, again, they were originals, very rough drafts, but kind of, I think I'm ready to sell these little works. This one, someone had written to me and said that they could see a horse looking down, so this would be the nose and then sort of the dark area of the eye, and it's kind of hard to see if you haven't seen. It was a friend, an artist friend actually, who had drawn over top and said, I really see a horse in this painting, so that was kind of neat. And I'm just gonna pull a card randomly from my deck. And I was thinking a lot about January was a really busy month, so good for doing videos. I just wanted to do a really frequent video. I was in a really great rhythm, and I think I was doing videos probably every couple of days, if not every day for a few days. And now as we approach February, I know that I need to take a little break from that, and I'm gonna try and post maybe once a week. I don't know what it's gonna look like. I really love being on this platform because I have the freedom, you know, if I don't feel great or if there's something going on in my family life, my personal life, I have the option of taking a break. So it's a really, I'm just so grateful for this platform because it's very flexible for me, which is, as a creative, I really need that. And I was thinking more and more that creativity is sort of like a relationship, in that if you've heard the saying, you know, sometimes we meet people for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And I think of that with my art. I think that, you know, I am gonna be a creative for my lifetime. I thrive on creativity, and I just love everything about being an artist and painting and sharing my work. I really love it. So when I think of, though, you know, art in terms of a reason, you know, I can think of that reason, say right now, I'm very specifically creating art for instance, animal rescue, silent auctions, or I'm doing some galas, and those are creating art with a purpose, for a reason, for a cause that's really important to me, for instance, you know, animal rescue. And so I'm just looking behind me, and I'm gonna grab, where are we? I think I've probably shown you all my cats. Okay, this is Samson, named after my childhood friend's cat. And I'm gonna put up my, here we go. So Samson's quite big, but this is an example of an embellished canvas print. And this would be art that fits with a reason. So the reason I had painted this cat, I was taking a course through Amanda Evanston. It was actually a membership called the Insider Studio, and she had painted cats and had taught how to do it. And if you haven't taken a class from Amanda, she's wonderful. She's such a good teacher. And also, if you're interested in painting animals or just learning to kind of paint in the style that she teaches, it's a really great membership, the Insider Studio, a really good community. So anyways, that's where I started painting cats, and I feel like I learned how to paint these cats through her. And this is a print made by Magik, my printer, my local printer, and you can feel the embellished paint on here. You can see this is like almost three-dimensional. And this would be an example of an embellished canvas print. And on the back, I have the certificate of authenticity, which includes the title of the art, which is Samson, my best friend from childhood, Angela, her cat, 20 by 16 inches. And so again, this is a reason for me is I really enjoyed painting these cats, and I painted quite a few. I did a collection titled Moments of Pause because my artist why is all about finding quiet and appreciating the beauty of the moment. And so again, I love play on words. So moment of pause, obviously cat pause versus taking a pause, which again I'm thinking to do maybe in February of this year, is just pausing and slowing down. This is Milo, and Milo also has a story. Milo is a cat that was in the neighborhood when I had first moved out and I was in university, had my own condo. Milo was one of the ladies who, well, she's an artist as well, who lived in the condominium in front. Her cat, he was very much an outdoor cat, but he would, when I'd open the back door to go outside, he would like spring out of, somewhere that was on my back patio, and he would just freak me out because I didn't know there was anything there, and I would scare him, but he would still come and hang out. And every time I would have, open a can of tuna, I'm now vegetarian going vegan, but long story short, he would smell tuna from like miles away and he would be at my door meowing. So this is Milo. He was very cartoon-like, and there was something about his eyes. They were like, I could see, it was like the window of his soul, these beautiful blue cartoon eyes. He really just didn't seem like a cat. He was more like a dog to me, and I've always been more of a dog person. So I just wanted to share that. So this is an embellished canvas print. This is Milo. I think I've shared these cats with you all. I also have, Miss Oak. This is a cat I had painted, and I was kind of channeling my rescue dog Oakley, who's just back there on the couch in my house right now. And so there's a story to this cat. And then there's Bernie the Mouser. So he's the last one that I'm going to donate to. It's called Rescue Friends. They're a really good organization, and they're partnering with 5 other animal rescue organizations here in Canada, mostly in Alberta. But I totally am off track. So those are going to be, and I can show you. This little one is called Buds in Bouquets. So this was originally done on a massive canvas, like probably 38 inches square. It would take up most of a good part of a feature wall in a home. And I had embellished some of the flowers with gold, but I had titled this Buds in Bouquets. Again, a play on words. And so you're kind of getting to know me as an artist. And this one I wanted to donate again just because it had birds in a bouquet, those flower buds. And anyways, so I thought I'd share this. And then this is vegan yet. So vegan yet, I am not vegan yet because my son and I, my husband and I were all vegetarian, and we're trying to go vegan. It's challenging, but I called her vegan yet. And that was just an important part of my values as a human and for my love of animals. And I thought she looked like someone that would have, she looked like a vegan yet. And so this again is an original painting, and I did almost like an acrylic pour technique. You can just see it was largely acrylics, and I'm just gonna see if I can, without spilling over paint. Oh, yeah, that's actually up all the way. I'm just gonna show you. You can see my cute cords today, my corduroy pants, because it's so cold out. This, I had done the edges. So that's really how I like to finish my work, is I love to just go over the edges. And I'm showing you this because, again, this is just an acrylic pour background. It's like an underpainting. And I just found Vegan Yet in the acrylic pour. I just thought this would be a great background for a cow. And cows make me really happy. And painting cows, I should say, make me really happy. I'm not on a farm. I don't really hang out with cows a whole lot. Seahorses more often. But going back to my my point about my art is often done, say, for a reason. So taking a class, for instance, that little fox that I was just taking that class through Tamara Laporte. And my mom said she just has really been interested in foxes for some reason, just the sweet little, they're such sweet wildlife. And I thought, well, I'm just going to take a class. And so she was the reason I had taken that class. And then my art, my why is animal rescue. And so that's the reason. Now the season is, for me, you know, I paint really differently in the summer versus the fall and the winter. And right now, being in the thick of the winter, my practice is just so different. So I can maybe talk about that in another video, but having art, you know, reason, season, and then a lifetime, I know I am going to be painting my whole life. Art has become a way of life for me. And I just wish everybody for that creative life that I love so much, because it's just given me so much back. And so I do think of art as a reason, season, or a lifetime. And I think too, in the winter, we have to maybe not put as much pressure on ourselves and give ourselves grace. And I know I tend to value productivity and output, and I'm really trying to change that mindset. And, you know, again, so February, I think February and these winter months, the season of winter that we're in, I'm gonna just, you know, maybe pause, have a moment of pause, and take a step back and just look at, you know, how can I pace myself? How can I continue to do what I love without overdoing it and with enjoying it? So I don't know if you've thought about that for your art practice, and how you have found balance, or, you know, sort of what feels to be a trendy word is finding flow. So, you know, how do you find balance or flow in your life? I know my husband, married 10 years now, been together almost 20. He finds his flow in climbing, like rock climbing and wall climbing. And he talks about how, you know, every move on the wall and going up the rock, it's like putting, you know, that puzzle together. I almost feel like it's like when he stands back and he's analyzing the route he's going to take on the wall or the mountain, you know, there's like, you know, he has books, he looks at it, he stands back, he sees where the crux is, that hardest part, he thinks it through, and then when he's in it, he's in that process of finding flow. And I think of that very much like my art practice. I'm going to just actually give you another painting to look at while I'm talking, because this is a bit of a wordy video. I had pulled the card, Add Color to Your World. So color just has so much. It evokes memories, and, you know, it makes the painting feel like there's a context. You know, color just sort of sets the stage for the composition of works, I find, especially with the way I paint. So adding color to your world, that's the card that we had picked today. And talking about how I find my flow, sort of like how my husband finds flow with climbing, I feel like I find my flow best, you know, by enjoying the process. So whether I'm actually painting or doing a video or teaching art, I am sort of, I think for me, when I can focus so much on the process of it, that is how I can enjoy it most, is not thinking that it's going to be a final painting, but just knowing that the process is the journey. And if you don't love the process, it's a really hard place to be in as a creative. So I'm just wondering, I wanted to show you, this is a canvas print, but you can see the embroidery. I love adding stitching and embroidery into my work. So you can just see some of the embroidery in here. These birds were really fun. I might make some chubby birds with you all sometime. But yeah, how do you find your flow, and what do you do that kind of, I suppose, relaxes you? And you know, are you enjoying what you're doing moment to moment? This is my painting. This is the very first painting. I think I've shown this in another video titled Sea Life. The very first painting I ever sold for money in December of 2019. So really my art as a business took off in 2020. So this is just, I'll just do a little flip through of some of these works. This is called Poetry of the Desert. And this is a piece I had done for when the war broke out in the Ukraine. And every print I would donate a portion of the print to certain animal organizations in the Ukraine. Sunshine Feeds the Soul. And these compositions, just looking at this, I want to go back and paint more of this style. Often my compositions leave a lot of that blank space, that resting space. And these girls I've already talked about. This one's titled That's All That Matters. And there's that reticulated pattern. This one is titled So Simple, and it incorporates sewing patterns, those simplicity sewing patterns. My mom is an amazing seamstress, sewer, and she gave me some of her sewing papers, which are such great collage items to add into work. They're just a beautiful paper to work with. Here's another very similar painting. I think I titled, I forget if this is Navigating the Skies. So my grandfather was a navigator in World War II and part of the Atlantic Ferry Command. And I was just thinking about, my grandfather and navigating the skies, and how he was the most incredible person to predict the weather and what was going on with his experience of flying through such crazy weather conditions and such long distances. And I was painting these birds at the time, and it made me think about how I navigate my art, and almost like navigating the skies, trying to find my way through doing mind maps and pathways. And I think of, actually one of these paintings is titled Pathways in the Sky. And I think the other one is Navigating the Skies. I think this is Pathways. There's Milo on canvas print, not embellished. This is my painting titled Quiet, which is very much part of my artist why. So finding quiet. And I think, again, this month, it's just such a busy month as far as what I have going on in my life and my family. And I want to find quiet and just moments where I can just really just enjoy the family time and enjoy the busyness of being a mom, and really zeroing my attention in on that. I also need to paint every day. I need to create every day. I need to just do something, even if it's like one small thing. You know, it could be that I have, let's just say I have all these little works in progress. This is just a really tiny piece that's on Artist Loft, so very affordable, Michael's watercolor paper. and I was practicing that reticulated technique that I love, watercolor, gesso, just you know, collage pieces of paper that I have purchased, and just sitting down and just getting my glue stick. And maybe, you know, with this, I had just started with putting on these papers. And so I think of, you know, tonight, if I could have just 10 minutes of, you know, having some torn papers beside me, some watercolor paper and a glue stick, that's just a great way to start doing something creative that can later spark an idea and a jumping off point. And I like this because I'm thinking about, it was funny, my son I had no idea that there's like a hamburger layout and a hot dog layout. And I'm pretty sure, at first I had no idea what he was talking about, but he's like, do you want to draw with me in a hamburger layout or a hot dog? And I was like, what do you mean? But I get that this is like a hamburger horizontal, and I think this is a hot dog. I don't know if I have that right, but it was pretty cute. But just doing these little steps, it's almost like a meditative practice. And, you know, just knowing you can do, you know, for instance, I have a few wood panels where I really enjoyed just doing the edges. So I would just grab, for this one, for those of you that were curious, I had used it's a higher quality paint, but I love how it goes on. This is turquoise, phthlo turquoise in golden fluid acrylic. It's a costly paint, but for me, a little goes a long way. You can water it down a bit, and I just use these little plastic cups, and, you know, I'll grab an angular brush, and I'll just do a layer, and I'll decide if there's enough transparency. I like to see some of the wood come through. I think there's so much beauty in seeing some of the designs in the wood. So I like this fluid acrylic for the edges in some of my artwork, especially lately. And, you know, again, just making sure there's no dust. I use like a tack cloth from, say, Home Depot, a cloth that has a little bit of a stick to it and takes off some of the excess dust. You can just, I'm really bad. Sometimes I'll just use my jeans and kind of rub it off. And make sure, you know, not to be too particular of the edges. Sometimes if I've gone over the edge, I'll show you what I do. Okay, well, here's some other little ones that I had done. I think I had showed you all these. This one's really tiny, but it turned out so beautiful. And this one as well. So this one I had used Payne's Gray golden fluid acrylic, and I was working with botanical painted papers. But, you know, when I go over top, and if I know that, say, the watercolor paper, it might bleed through, what I would do is know the weight of the paper, know how it's going to work. But, you know, for this one, I just did a coat of gesso, because this is one that I had done with that iridescent gold, how do you say, more of a thicker acrylic paint. And when I just by mistake had gone over top of some of those edges, I wanted to have just a coat of gesso, white gesso. This is the one I like, Liquetex gesso. That way you have more like tooth, something for the glue to stick to, and then getting your paper on and not worrying about any color bleeding through. So those of you that subscribe to me, you'll know I go totally off track, but that's just how my creative brain works, and I love it, and that's just the way I operate. So back to what we were talking about, is the reason I'm so prolific is, firstly, I mean, my passion. I love painting, I love creating. That's my greatest source of joy and dopamine, and I love the process, and that's what helps me get to the final, you know, that's what helps me finish paintings, is because I just love the process so much. I create so many, and, you know, you're just learning so much throughout the process. And I create in stages. I work on many at a time. And so, for example, if I have time, I would just have my materials in a place where I could see them, and just do multiples at a time. So I would start doing the edges, maybe several panels all in one sitting. And if that's the only thing that I did during that day, I would still be really happy with that. Doing the polka dots, I really like to use this fine Posca paint pen, this Japanese acrylic paint pen. It has a really great tip. And what I would do is, even if I'm just watching a show or listening to a podcast, I'm gonna see, I hope I don't hit the camera, but I would just do polka dots on the edges. And you can kind of feel like, even though you might have something else going on, I know multitasking isn't very good for us, but this is just how I find relaxation in my day and how I'm so prolific. And I just wanted to share that, because it's not like I sit down and I just paint a full painting in a day. I have so many works of progress going on all the time, works in progress. I'm just seeing where I put the lid to my Posca pen. I can't have this pen dry out. Where did I put it? You guys are probably looking at it. This is so funny. Oh my goodness. Okay, this is ridiculous. Okay, I can't find the lid. So I know what we're gonna do. I wanna show you some stickers that I got. Oh, there it is. Okay, whew. I was just gonna put it in one of these bags. There's our heat that just kicked in. Thank goodness for a heater today. I was really excited to get these stickers at a local art supply store called Evoked in Westbrook Mall here in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. And if you buy a number of stickers, they give you a discount. So I thought I'd start with 100 each. And I'm really happy with the quality and the way they turned out. So I just wanted to share these with you. I do have, I think I showed you my other stickers, which I have a variety, but I just felt like this would be a really great sticker to incorporate with, say my art poetry deck, or if someone purchased my art. I love this type of round sticker. And this, you can see my reticulated pattern in here. This was called Around the Peaks. Again, a play on words. And then this one is called Peeking Through Windows. And I was, anyways, yeah, more of the reticulated pattern. And this is my painting, And There You'll Be. And when I first started my art business, I had registered for Society 6, which is a company that, before I had my printer, it's a company where you could put your art onto, say, clothing items, water bottles, mouse pads, you name it, pillows. And it was so much work uploading the photos. And then if you don't kind of invest a fair bit into the site, it's really hard to get seen. And so I had registered on the site, and then this was probably like 3 years ago, or maybe 4 years ago. And I saw that I got 10 cents or 35 cents, if that, from Society 6, because somebody had purchased one of my stickers. And I totally forgot I was on the site. I don't think I made any other sales, but I was like, well, if they're going to buy stickers, I want them to now buy through I actually have a website now, whereas at that time I didn't. So I'd be curious to know if you all buy stickers. I know for myself, I have bought some through artists in the United States. Kathy Nichols in particular, she has really beautiful stickers, and they're very large, and I've used them on my water bottle inspiration when I work out. I also have them on my little refillable hand soap pumps because they're just such a cute addition. And Yeah, but I know part of me thinks they're a bit wasteful. I've seen, my niece who's, uh, gosh, she's almost 18 now. She would have a whole bunch of stickers on the back of her phone. And yeah, so just curious to know what you all think. I might put these on my website, but I wanted to share Evoked because they were a wonderful company to buy these through. And I always like to support my local companies. So I am no longer with Society 6. That was just too hard. I'm not very technical, and I probably didn't have my stuff set up that well on the site. And, and there's so much now for, spoon flower, if you want to get your art into a pattern or on fabric. There's really some really neat competitive sites that can do a lot with your art and get it into print. It's really cool. I am gonna just see if I can zoom you down. And we're gonna just go back to my paintings. I'm gonna do a little flip through. This one's titled Flourish, another canvas print, and I can't wait to embellish it. I was taking a course by Pam Garrison, and I love her style. I love her colors. This looks nothing like the course she took, which it was a class where I had taken it on, I think it was called Creative Bug, which is like an online class platform, which is very affordable. There's a whole bunch of artists that go on there, and you can pick and choose from classes. And they often give a 30-day trial. One thing actually, now that I'm thinking about this, I did want to say I have been on some sites where you do art classes, and once you put in your credit card, your MasterCard, whatever, your payment method, just know that even though it's a free trial, I was caught where I had taken a class through a group called Domestica, and it was a wonderful art class. I really enjoyed it, but I was doing this free trial, and then I noticed that I was charged quite a bit of money at the beginning of the next year because the free trial, long story short, I was just like, I never signed up for that. And it's because they had this really small fine print underneath the, free, all free courses for like, say, 3 months or whatever. And then the fine print said, please note your credit card will be charged at the end of this trial for, I think it was like, it was expensive, $170 US maybe for the year. And I just wanted to tell you that because I've taken a lot of classes, and I was really lucky. I had caught it coming in, and I was able to remedy it and get my money back. But I really just wanted that free trial. I wasn't committed to that much money for those classes, and the fine print was so small. I had gone on a forum, and I noticed that there was a lot of other people that had the same complaint. So just a heads up, the platform is good. The artists are wonderful, the ones I had taken classes from at least, but just read the fine print and know exactly when that trial ends. Just turn off your payment method if you're not wanting to continue it. I do know on my YouTube videos, I don't choose the ads that are shown here. I just let YouTube choose the ads because I haven't had time to go through and select what ads I want, but I think Domestica is one of them. So just a little heads up on that. I'm all about taking art classes, but supporting artists online and these platforms, but just some of them I feel like could do a much better job at transparency. And I'm just gonna quickly flip through some of these canvas prints. Again, I've been a very prolific artist for, when I had finished or decided to give up my registered nurse license in 2020. This was my true therapy, passion, place where I find calm. This is Cow Patty, so her name is Patty, Pattie, and she was done on a really large round panel. So again, she was a cow I painted her for a reason. because cows make me happy. Sometimes when I'm feeling a little low, I find painting a really sweet face makes me super happy. And this is my painting titled Carousel, and this was a large painting I had done on wood panel. I can kind of see a bit of a horse in there. There's a slightly larger version of Around the Peaks. And then this one, I actually have the original of this one on the wall beside me. Whoops. It's one I really like, so I've kind of held on to, and I called it Patchwork Skies. And the cool thing about this is, while we're talking about watercolor on, you know, mounting this little watercolor on paper, gluing it to the wood panel, this is actually watercolor over top of, or on a canvas. So it just shows a little bit of an example of, you know, when you get this is a little canvas. Unfortunately, I put it here because it had fallen and it got a big hole in it. And I had several layers of gesso, but I'm just gonna see if I can re-stretch it. So taking this canvas right off of the wood framework, like these little stretcher bars or whatever you call them. But I'd have like a blank canvas, and then I would use the Daniel Smith titanium white absorbent ground, and I would do many coats of that. I learned how to do that through a wonderful watercolor artist by the name of Liz Chaderton, and I'm still taking some of her classes online. She teaches watercolor cows, and I thought it would be really cool to learn how to do slightly more realistic, but also a bit whimsical cow on canvas. And she does birds. She's really an incredible watercolor artist. So she, though, in her course, and I think it was the one for the cow, had taught how to do an absorbent ground as a, you know, a layer to paint on canvas. So if you're interested in a course, I believe she's out of the UK. She's a really great instructor, and that's sort of how I learned to do the absorbent ground in order to prep my canvas for watercolor. Because for those of you that have tried watercolor on canvas or over top of gesso, it just behaves differently, and it can just be wiped off in a lot of cases depending on what you use. So this one I had titled Patchwork Skies. It really reminded me of patchwork, and I did a lot of white to highlight the blank space. And I just thought I would share this with you because it was beside me on my wall. This one's titled Whisper, and I really want to do another painting like this. Maybe that's something we could do sometime. Oh, and this one I had done, and here's the original. I was taking Kathy Nichols' botanical class. I forget the exact name, but for those of you that follow me, you'll know that I've mentioned Kathy Nichols. I love her work. She's out of Asheville, and she had taught a class on her style, and this was one of my first paintings. This was in 2020. I had done it. You can see a paintbrush collage paper, and I used real botanicals that my mom had picked and flattened quite some time ago, and she was using like a flower press. And so these are actually real botanicals in here. And I can't even remember exactly how I did it, but I want to do it again. And this is a painting I have just held on to because I really love it, and I want to kind of have it as inspiration to replicate. I still have some dried flowers. I'm just seeing if I have them here. But yeah, Kathy Nichols teaches a wonderful class on this style. And so I just thought I'd share with you, and then you can see this is the print, which is a little bit brighter, but still very beautiful. And I would just embellish this to look and feel more like the original. I don't know how to protect these dried botanicals over time. I feel like I used a really great varnish, probably like Liquetex gloss varnish, probably 3 coats. And I do remember it was really tedious getting some of the botanicals down, but I love that look. So if I could figure out how to do it in a way that would, you know, I do my best to have work that's light, fast, and archival and will last as long as I can get it to last, but I do know that that can be pretty stressful, and sometimes it will kind of hinder my desire to play and practice if I think too much about those things. This was called Saturdays with Betty. It was inspired by Betty Krause, Betty Franks Krause, and I'm gonna see, do I have her Fields of Flowers book? I don't see that. I'll have to share that with you all at some point. And I'm just gonna zoom you up a little bit. I love painting this freestyle. It's just so fun. It's another one I had taken, or I was sort of influenced by Betty Krause, and I had done this one. I called it Beauty and Friendship, and one of my best friends has the original. This one, Bouquets of Influence, another work inspired by Pam Garrison, and I have the original of that. This is called Crushing on Coral, and this has, if you know Wendy Brightbill, you can kind of see her influence in here. There's the sewing patterns. These were my favorite pair of Quicksilver jeans that had these, it's like a skull pattern, and it was inside the lining of the pockets. And I just love those jeans. I wore holes in them, and when Wendy had talked about adding fabric into her work and her teaching, I thought, well, I have that reticulated pattern on the glossy paper, but I also have a pair of jeans that I didn't want to throw them out, so I used that fabric in there. And this I had done on a wood panel. So there's the Simplicity sewing pattern, and then the sewing pattern down at the bottom. This one's titled It's Back to My Roots, which I'm just gonna end this video at an hour mark because I am tired today, and that's just how it's gonna be. This was a diptych I had done. I still have this on watercolor paper, and so you can kind of see it matching up. I'm just gonna see if I can zoom you up a bit. So follow your light. So you can kind of see when I painted it, I was working on 2 pieces of paper. We didn't quite get the full moon there, but that's okay. This one is when it really sums up my artist why and why I share on these videos. If it lights you up, do more of it. And looking at this, these just make me want to embellish them. This one's titled 3 Sisters. This one's titled With Gratitude. There's Miss Oak. And then this one's called Dancing in Space. These are the paintings that are at the restaurant here in Calgary called the Park Bar and Grill. And this one is called Island Iris Envy, and I was thinking of Iris Apfel, and she was just a lovely fashion icon and creative, and I was thinking about irises and the octopus, and there's a whole story to those paintings, but this, just going through this work makes me want to maybe go back and paint some more irises. And you can see with these, this is that reticulated pattern that I was showing you. It's almost like a stained glass effect. And I'm just gonna finish by randomly picking another card here. And this one, it's funny, it really matches this painting, Find Rainbows. So in whatever you're doing, I hope you can find colors that make you happy, textures that make you feel something, that make you feel emotions, you know, when you're in the creative process. I just feel like it's funny how this card matches this painting so much. And oh, there's my 1 hour timer. So thank you all for sticking with me. I really appreciate you all, and I will do another video. I'm gonna slow down the videos a little bit, but I am gonna see you in February, probably at least a couple times. So thanks so much for all of your support and your comments and feedback. Take care.